Okay, let's just jump right in. Have you ever thought about the fact that inside of you, right now, there's a bustling, invisible world? I mean, a whole ecosystem teeming with trillions of organisms. Now, this isn't some kind of science fiction movie plot. It's the actual reality of your body. And this hidden world, what we call your microbiome, it doesn't just live inside you. In so many ways, it actually governs you, influencing everything from how you digest your lunch to how you're feeling today.
And if that sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, get a load of this number. When we look at all the genetic material in your body, a mind-boggling 99% of it is microbial. Yeah, you heard that right. Genetically speaking, you are more microbe than you are human. And that's not just a cool trivia fact, it's a fundamental piece of our biology that we're only just starting to wrap our heads around.
So what is this microbiome exactly? Well, it's the entire community of microorganisms. We're talking bacteria, viruses, even fungi that have basically set up camp on you and inside you. But hey, don't think of them as nasty germs or invaders. A better way to think about them is like an essential organ you never even knew you had. It's this incredibly complex and vital ecosystem, and you're the host.
All right, so let's start with a job that probably feels pretty familiar when we talk about the gut: digestion. Your microbiome is like a master chemist, you know? It does all this essential work that your own body just can't do on its own. It's a key partner in both breaking down our food and building up our defenses.
This is such a fascinating idea. We think we eat to feed ourselves, right? But a huge part of what we eat, especially things like the complex carbs and fibers you find in plants, our own bodies can't break them down. We just don't have the tools. But for microbes, oh, that's a gourmet meal. They're the ones who handle that digestion for us.
And the process itself is really quite elegant. So, step 1, you eat some fiber. Step 2, your gut microbes get to work fermenting it. And then, in return for the meal, they produce these incredibly valuable byproducts called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs for short. You can think of these little molecules as a kind of currency of good health that gets exchanged between you and your microbial buddies.
And let me tell you, these SCFAs are absolute powerhouses. They're the main food source for the cells that line your colon, which keeps your gut barrier strong and healthy. But their influence doesn't stop in the gut. No way. They act as these potent signals that help regulate your immune system all over your body, helping to cool down inflammation. They're a really big deal. And this role just keeps getting bigger. Beyond just making those helpful SCFAs, your microbiome basically acts as a lifelong training camp for your immune system. Seriously, from the moment you're born, these microbes are teaching your immune cells that crucial difference between, say, a harmless piece of food, a friendly microbe, and a genuinely dangerous invader. A well-trained immune system is everything.
Okay, so we've talked digestion, we've talked immunity. Now, I want you to prepare to have your mind completely blown. We're about to explore the gut-brain axis, this incredible superhighway of communication that directly links the trillions of microbes in your gut to the command center in your head.
So let me just ask you this question flat out. It sounds a little crazy, right? But could these tiny little organisms hanging out in your digestive tract actually influence your thoughts, your cravings, even your mental health? Well, the science that's emerging is pointing to a pretty dramatic and definitive yes.
To see what I mean, check out this absolutely startling study. Researchers took gut microbes from humans who had alcohol use disorder and transferred them into mice that had never had alcohol before. And the result? All of a sudden, the mice developed a preference for alcohol. It suggests that the craving itself might actually be driven, at least in part, by the microbes.
And hey, this isn't just some weird thing that happens in mice. Let's look at the human data. In a clinical trial, people with alcohol use disorder were given either a fecal transplant from a healthy donor or a placebo. The results were just wow. Within only 2 weeks, a full 90% of the people who got the transplant had a huge reduction in their cravings. Compare that to only 30% in the placebo group. That's a massive difference.
The potential for mental health is just as profound. I mean, this case report is incredible. A 79-year-old woman was suffering from severe treatment-resistant depression. She was given a fecal transplant. Within just 4 days, her mood started to lift, and by 2 weeks, the report says she was, quote, frankly euphoric. Her life was totally turned around. This one story just gives you a glimpse of the therapeutic potential we're just starting to understand.
So, how on earth is this even possible? Well, this gut-brain conversation happens through a few different channels. There's a direct physical line, a hotline, if you will, called the vagus nerve. And get this, your gut microbes also produce a huge amount of your body's neurotransmitters, including more than 90% of your serotonin. And, like we already talked about, they communicate through the immune system. It's this constant, two-way chatter.
So up to now, we've seen the microbiome as our amazing, helpful partner. But what happens when things go wrong? When this beautifully balanced inner ecosystem gets thrown into chaos, it can lead to some really serious problems for us, the hosts.
The official term for this state of imbalance is dysbiosis, and it's not as simple as just having bad bacteria. It could mean you've lost some of the good guys, or you don't have a lot of different species, or the whole community is just unstable. And this kind of imbalance makes us much more vulnerable to all sorts of diseases.
I mean, the difference is pretty stark. A healthy microbiome is like a vibrant, lush rainforest. It's full of diverse species, it's resilient, it can handle a little disruption. Dysbiosis, on the other hand, is more like a barren field with only one crop. It's fragile, it's unstable, and it often promotes this chronic, low-level inflammation all throughout the body.
One of the most dangerous things about dysbiosis is how it can mess with our immune system. Remember how we said the microbiome trains our defenses? Well, when that training goes wrong, the immune system can get confused. It loses its ability to tell friend from foe. And the result is what you could call friendly fire, autoimmunity, where your own body's defenses start attacking your own tissues. Now, if we want to get a little more specific, scientists have found this is often tied to an imbalance between two key types of immune cells. You've got these pro-inflammatory cells called Th17 cells that kind of drive the attack. And then you have the regulatory T cells, or TREGs, whose job is to be the peacekeepers and keep those Th17s in check. In dysbiosis, that balance can tip dangerously towards inflammation.
And let's be crystal clear, dysbiosis isn't some minor issue. It is now strongly linked with so many of the chronic diseases that plague the modern world. We're talking about obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, inflammatory bowel disease, autoimmune conditions, and, as we've already seen, even changes in our mental health. This unseen world has a very, very visible impact.
Okay, so after hearing all that, you might be feeling a little worried, and you're probably wondering, what can I actually do about this? Well, here's the good news. Your microbiome isn't set in stone. It's a dynamic ecosystem that you can influence every single day. You can be an active gardener for your own inner world. And the tools for the job are probably things you've heard before. Diet is number one. You've got to feed your microbes the things they love, which is tons of fiber and a wide variety of plants. Lifestyle matters too. Things like regular exercise and getting good sleep have a huge positive impact. And finally, being really thoughtful about medications, especially broad-spectrum antibiotics, is key. They can be like a wildfire ripping through that inner rainforest. So if there's one big idea to take away from all of this, it's this. Your microbiome is not just a bunch of passive passengers along for the ride. It is an active, essential partner in your health. It digests your food, it trains your immune system, and it even talks to your brain. Its health is completely, fundamentally intertwined with your own.
And so I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Every single time you sit down to eat, you're making a choice. And that choice feeds not just you, but the trillions and trillions of organisms living inside you. So the next time you eat, just ask yourself, who are you really eating for?